Hello, biological anthropology students. This is our last week of class, and next week is going into finals week. This Wednesday, I'll be posting your final exam questions. There'll be two of them. So the material for this week, leads up to the moment you'll be able to answer those. So far, we've seen information that helps us answer a Neanderthal question, if we've got one. What is a Neanderthal? What is a human? And now we're going to be looking at the emergence of modern day humans, giving us a little bit better information on what our capabilities are over that of a Neanderthal as humans began to migrate out of Africa for the first time. Of course, in the film Neanderthal, it depicts early human populations roughly at 40 to 45,000 years ago, moving into Western Europe. That wasn't the first movement out of modern humans out of Africa. The very first movement is along the African coastline, in through India and into Australia. So this week we're watching a film on this called A Genetic Odyssey. We'll be looking at the work of geneticist Spencer Wells as he tracks the male chromosome, the Y chromosome, as we track the movement of humans through India and on into Africa, and look at what that experience was like and what gives us this unique sort of human spark to be able to tease out, what is this very different about us. And then we'll look at the last viewing assignment, the very last assignment before we go into the final for this semester, a viewing assignment. We're watching First Peoples Asia. And we'll be looking at humans making a different sort of encounter with archaic groups. While we've seen the Western Neanderthals that were inhabiting Western Europe, and we saw the interaction and potentially the context, right? The demographics of how that hybridization occurred. Let's have a look at what was going on in the East and different problems that modern sapiens were facing as they began to spread out through the East portal from Africa up and out. So this concludes pretty much this semester of activity, and what a semester it has been for all of us. None of us have prepared to make this major sort of online, transition, and this type of course is really not possible unless you really build the course, the shell from the beginning to do an online sort of thing out of it. And I thank you all for sort of enduring it and making it sort of work. I know that I've gotten a lot of feedback from students so far that they've actually learned a lot. And that's really what I'm interested in. It's just you're learning something about, what it is to actually be human. Um, Now, as far as next year is concerned, when you return to campus, I try to keep the weather vane going on to what's happening. There'll be partially courses on campus, partially, and most of those are going to be laboratories and the hard physical sciences. But you're going to see an overwhelming large portion of courses online. That's just to be safe. We need to figure out what's happening with this virus in the area. So when you see things beginning to move and migrate online, I don't want you to think it's a permanent thing. Nobody really wants that. I mean, online courses are okay. What we found out, just in the 20 years I've been teaching, and I've done a lot of online work, is that students generally feel a great disconnect, not from each other, but from their instructors. It's really hard to contact each other. And generally, the feeling of freedom and getting out on a campus and feeling it, involved in something. Um, and just to let you know that your administrators and people that run these places are highly aware of that too, and they don't want to compromise that experience. So hopefully by the middle of next year, we'll see things settle down and back to normal. So till then, it's been a pleasure. I'm looking forward to you, if for those of you in my lab courses, seeing you, next week when you turn your lab material in. I'll be I'll be maintaining my 6 feet of social distance, but I look forward to seeing your faces. It's really what is important to me. So until then, if you have any questions about this, let me know. But do this. Make sure before you really get into the exam that you get the story of the human body completed. That's a really quintessential book, and I've had students that have done nothing but read that book and approached the exam ahead of them, and done extremely well with this, with a couple of viewing things. So I don't want you to feel, too full of anxiety that you haven't done enough or you're too far behind. I think you'll have enough if you really have a reasonable good feel of that book. All right, take care. Bye.